Welcome, Paisan. It's been a dog's age.
Batman, darling.
Call me Snake.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd with your host Mark and Sam. We're having a bit of a special episode today. We're going to be discussing Oz the Great and Powerful, but we're also going to be discussing various other Oz films and Oz-related material. Hi Sam.
Hi.
Right, should we just get into this? Should we just talk about Oz the Great and Powerful first in a non-spoilery way for just a couple of minutes? Then it's going to be spoilers, I'm afraid. So if you haven't seen the film, probably don't listen. You know, skip forward 20 minutes or something, and we'll be talking about The Wizard of Oz. We were talking about various other Oz films such as Journey Back to Oz and Return to Oz. We may also talk about the film, the book, and a few other things. Okay. Oz the Great and Powerful. General impressions. What did you think generally?
I liked it.
It was a pretty good film. It was obviously it's not a patch on the original, but it stand up there. It doesn't embarrass itself, does it? Really?
No.
I enjoyed it a lot too, I have to say. All right, let's talk about the first one's famous really for the characters and the sort of the colourful imagery. How do you think it stood up to, say, in terms of imagery?
The imagery didn't seem colourful. It was more weird. It looked more in places it would be in Alice in Wonderland more than Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. There was a bit of Alice in Wonderland about this, yes, I have to agree with that. However, I thought it was okay. I got a feel, we saw it in 3D, didn't we? But I got a feeling in 2D it will be more striking. You lose a lot of colour. Luminance with 3D. It's a bit of an unfortunate side effect. Though it was a very good 3D. I'm not a 3D fan at all, but I thought it was really quite good. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I liked it. The 3D was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. What about the performances? There's Mila Kunis, James Franco, Michelle Williams was Glinda. I'm trying to think who else was in it. Zach Braff, yeah.
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz.
Bill Cosby.
Eh?
Bill Cosby.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't Bill Cosby.
Bill Cobbs. It looks like him.
It looks like Bill Cosby. It wasn't Bill Cosby. Yeah, really, reasonably good acting. James Franco. A lot of people. Well, no. Apparently, Robert Downey Jr. was down to play Oz in this, but he couldn't make it. I think probably because of Iron Man 3. What do you think of James Franco? You think he did a good job?
Yeah, he kind of retained normality in the film, which is kind of the thing with Oz that later films kind of forget. Well,
yeah.
Not later films, sort of films set after Dorothy goes to Oz for the first time.
Yeah, they do. Okay, I think that's enough of the non-spoilery stuff. We're going to get into the story now. So I'd forward 15, 20 minutes, and our next film after this will be The Wizard of Oz itself. Okay, I like the opening idea of they replicated the Wizard of Oz, didn't they, by opening on black and white, and it was more like a 4x3 kind of format. It wasn't widescreen. I thought that was quite a cool deal. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I liked how sometimes stuff would sort of float out of the frame.
Yeah, that was very
like
cool.
The fire breather in the circus that they start off in.
Yeah, and wasn't one of the birds fly out of frame as well? One of the birds he
Yeah.
pulls out of his hat. That was kind of cool. I would have preferred it slightly. I did like the black and white, but I would have... Now, the original... The Wizard of Oz is more sepia than black and white. I would have preferred if they'd tried to go with that, actually, but I've got a feeling Warner Brothers probably blocked them, because they blocked a lot of other things.
They were kind of petty with this.
They were very petty. They wouldn't let... They basically said... Sorry, go on.
They couldn't have the same shade of green for the witch.
Yeah, that's stupid, isn't it?
It looks kind of weird.
She's a funny shade of green, isn't she? Yeah.
Oh, and she couldn't have a wart on her chin, like the original.
Yeah, really, really small things. You'd think that they'd want something that replicates their own film to get people buying it again. But there you go. Basically, Sam Raimi, he was on the Kermode podcast. He was talking about it. He basically couldn't replicate anything that was from the Wizard of Oz. They had to keep going back to source material. So there's no ruby slippers, for example. Because in the book, it's silver slippers. I don't think they have slippers at all in this, but
They don't.
And it's stuff like that. I like some of the... I think the characterisation was very good in this. I had a bit of a problem with Oz at first, because at first he came across as like a bit of a con man. You could see he was kind of disappointed when his love interest said, went to him and told him that someone had proposed to her. And you could see he was kind of a bit cut up about that, but didn't let it show. And you couldn't quite... once he'd heard about the gold in Oz, he was interested in the gold, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's how he came across. But I think I had a bit of a trouble getting a hand on him, because like pretty early on he confessed to Finlay the monkey that he wasn't a wizard, which a real con man wouldn't do, would he? So you could see he had like a bit of a conscience about him, which is kind of interesting. I really like Mila Kunis in this, actually. I thought she was really good as Theodora. What do you reckon?
She was okay up until she turned into the Wicked Witch.
You didn't like that bit?
Yeah, because after that it was just sort of, I am evil for being evil.
One of the problems with the film, I think, is her motivation becoming evil just isn't quite... For staying evil, she gets a lot of outs there to actually try and stop being as evil. She's basically turned evil by her sister. But given a choice to turn back, she rejects it, doesn't she? She obviously rejects it, which doesn't quite make sense, because she seems quite a good person before that. One of the things I did really liked, was an idea that they threw in, which was when she started crying about the wizard, it burnt her face, sort of foreshadowing the fact that water's going to have some sort of effect on her, which I thought I kind of liked. And that didn't occur to me until like a couple of days after.
No,
did it occur to you at the time?
I saw that. I also sort of worked out it's kind of balanced. Her sort of power revolves around fire. She gets hurt by water.
Yeah. I hadn't put that together. Yeah, she's more like a fire witch, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's and water's bothering her. Yeah, it's interesting. I liked her transformation into the witch. I thought it was rather cool. In terms of her taking on the outfit and taking on some of the attributes, like she only like takes a broom because Oz mentions earlier about witches flying on brooms.
It's to spite him, mostly.
Okay, what about the whole flying baboon thing?
The baboons were quite terrifying. Zach Braff's character, Finlay, looked pretty good.
Yeah, that was a really good CGI monkey. And the actual expressions on... His voice suited it as well.
Yeah.
I also like China Doll. I thought that was done really well. The CGI in this film is really quite great, really. I didn't see any flaws in the CGI at all. Did you see any effects you thought were a bit naff?
There were some bits where I could see the clouds that Glinda uses weren't too good.
Oh, right, okay.
It looked too much... It looked too Seussian.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Go watch The Grinch, and you'll see.
One thing I did notice about the film, obviously Sam Raimi, there were some definite Evil Dead kind of influences. Even though it's a kids' film, there was a bit early on where he's in the balloon in the middle of the cyclone, and the ropes and stuff are flying towards him, and bits of like very Evil Dead or Army of Darkness. And one of the women actually turns into what looked like a deadite to me at one point. So I kind of liked it. One thing that made me laugh is I felt that the character of Oz is quite a lot like Ash from the Evil Dead series, in that he's a lot of front to him, and he'll get stuck in only when he has to, but he'd rather, ultimately just run away. So I was kind of picturing Bruce Campbell in the role of Oz, and it kind of worked for me. But obviously on a 200 million plus film, they're not going to have Bruce Campbell. They're going to have a real big name, aren't they? So it's not going to work.
Bruce Campbell was in it.
Yeah, he was in it as one of the Winky
guards.
Yeah. Being intimidated by a midget called, a dwarf called Nook. Yeah, he was quite good. Tony Cox, I think, is the guy. He's been in a lot of things. The thing I remember him most from was Me, Myself and Irene. He's pretty funny in that. It's a film with Jim Carrey that's kind of funny. And he was in that. But he was pretty good in this. I felt the casting was pretty good on this. I was really, really impressed with Glinda, actually. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah.
And I've not seen her in anything before, but I think she might be in American TV or something. I'm not sure. Michelle Williams is her name.
I felt she didn't hold the same kind of level of whimsy that the original Glinda had.
I thought she did. I thought she was spot on, actually. But I kind of get what you mean. The original was kind of really not paying attention much,
she
was she?
takes the mick out of the witch ruthlessly. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, get out of here. If someone drops a house on you.
Yes, no.
Glinda and Oz, the Great and Powerful, is not like that.
I had a little trouble with the music because it was just way too... It was Danny Elfman, and it was way too Tim Burton. And this... I have to say, I felt this version of Oz was what Tim Burton was kind of trying to do with Wonderland in his Alice in Wonderland. Didn't quite pull off. Whereas I thought this Oz was a pretty coherent, but I kind of see what you mean. It did have elements that were more Alice in Wonderland than Oz, weren't they? With giant plants and things. Another Evil Dead moment made me laugh was walking through the forest in the dark and the eyes appearing. Yeah, and they were like plant things, weren't they? I didn't quite work out what they were. There was also a few references to the original, weren't they? Did you spot them all?
Yeah,
well, we don't know.
The I forgot what they mean. The Tinkerers.
The Tinkers.
Yeah, the Tinkers are the guys that
they make things.
Well, they help make Tin Man what he is, what he became.
Oh, okay.
I think he did the first few limbs that he cut off, but after that, the Tinkers took off.
Yes.
The Scarecrow
you're going back to the book
speaks
now.
for itself, and so does the Cowardly Lion.
Yeah, the Cowardly Lion makes a prominent appearance in this. Apparently, just about to attack the wizard, but he does a bit of magic because he's a magician in this, a trickster. Before he arrives in Oz, and that's how he persuades people he's a great wizard. First they start calling him a great wizard, so he takes on the mantle, but the fact he can do some tricks and stuff persuades them. What about Rachel Weisz? What do you think of her?
It was okay, but it was like so transparent that she was the villain.
Yeah, when we first saw her, I thought, well, that's the Wicked Witch, and they were talking about some other Wicked Witch. I thought, I must have...
Oh, okay.
But her outfit looked Wicked Witchy.
Yeah, it's like, there's Theodora, who's got like a white shirt with a red coat thing. There's Glinda, who's got like a big white dress, and then there's Ivanora, who's got a big black dress, with bat wings on the side.
Greeny black, wasn't it?
Green gem hanging from her neck.
Yes, she's a lot of green about her.
Yeah,
I have to say I like this film. I thought it was I think it hit all the right spots and did exactly what it should be doing. Really, I rather enjoyed it. Would you like to see any more Oz from Sam Raimi?
Yeah, a bit, because in the books it makes it seem like there's more that he's done in the past.
You think there's more that the wizard he could do as the wizard than? Because there is. I mean, in the first book, which is the Dorothy story, they do talk about the fact that the Wicked Witch of the West drove him out of a certain part of her lands and kept him out.
It's Winky Country.
Yes, which suggests that might be coming. That's a possible plot line, isn't it? And of course, Evanora is the Wicked Witch of the East, and she'll be taking the Munchkin lands, won't she?
Yeah.
So there's some possibilities there. I wasn't sure about the kissy at the end with the Glinda. That doesn't quite line up with how I see Oz working, but I'll bet that was a producer's decision and not Sam Raimi's. I bet you. Yeah, rather enjoyed this film. I thought it was all good.
I was kind of annoyed with the crowd at the start. Because he's like...
What, just shouting at him for being a magician?
Yeah, they were shouting at him because he couldn't make a girl walk again.
Yeah.
It's like, what, really?
Did you notice that girl's voice was the China?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything sort of transferred over.
Yeah, as it often does. Like what it does with Oz, doesn't it?
What's her name?
There was the monkey?
Annie Gale.
No, she was Annie. Gale. She was going to be married to John Gale, wasn't it? Yeah, so there was a foreshadowing of...
She was Glinda.
Yeah.
Zach Braff, who was Frank, which is a reference to Frank L. Baum, the writer.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Was Finley. It all kind of transfers over.
Yeah, it does. And they had a lot of elements. Did they mention the Deadly Desert? I can't remember if they did. No. They didn't, did they? But they had the poppy fields.
Oh, I finally figured out why everyone's so surprised that there's a new person in Oz, it's because on all four sides of Oz, it's the deadly desert.
So no one can get out.
No one could get in and out, really.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of was aware of it was surrounded, but I wasn't sure what with. I knew there were limits to it. And Oz, the city of the Emerald City is right in the middle. I do know that.
And it's kind of like a rectangle with a square in the middle, which is the Emerald City sort of area, and then it's like Munchkinland, Tinkerland, something Quadling Land, and the Winky Country.
Land. Yeah. Well, another bit that made me laugh is when the Munchkins start trying to sing, and the wizard's like, "Oh, sorry, Oz," is kind of saying, "Yeah, take 5, guys, take 5," which was a little jarring because I'm pretty sure they didn't used to say "take 500" odd years ago. But we're talking about a magical land. Let's not split hairs. Overall, really enjoyed it. What would you give it out of 100 then?
Oh, probably something high. 70, 80 sort of region.
78. I'd give it 72. In fact, no, I'm going to give it a little more. 74 I'm going to give it. So you say what? 76, right?
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, well, split the difference. 75 out of 100. We thought it was pretty good film.
6.9 on
okay.
IMDb.
When I checked it a day ago, it was 7 out of 10. 7.0. But, okay, 6.9. Yeah, that's a reasonable score. It's not too bad. Okay, all right, then that covers Oz the Great and Powerful. Oh, I just got to talk about the title. I thought he called himself that in the book, actually. But in the book, he doesn't call himself Oz the Great and Powerful. He calls himself Oz the Great and Terrible. And he does it a few times. And when he first meets Dorothy, he actually says, "I am Oz the Great and Terrible." And Dorothy says back, "I am Dorothy, the small and meek." So Oz the Great and Powerful, I think, is more from the film. It could be
I'm
from
surprised
the
MGM didn't catch on that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. But it could be it's used in some of the other books. There are 15 books after all. I've read one and only just finished reading it. I'll talk about that actually at some point. Okay, shall we go on to The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Must have blown their minds when they saw this. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's much we can say about this. It's kind of a stone cold classic. It's hard to say. Is there anything about it you don't like? I mean, you can look at it and think some of those matte paintings in the backgrounds look a bit cheesy, look a bit poor compared to some, but that's part of its charm. So it's like, I don't really think I can say anything bad about it.
Yeah. Something that did bug me is like Glinda at the start of the film goes, "Oh, this leads directly to the Emerald City," yet first thing she comes across is a crossroad.
Yep, she does. There's other issues too. She doesn't mention the fact it goes straight through the poppy fields, where you can fall asleep forever if you're not careful. Stuff like that.
Well, in that film, it wasn't. The poppy fields weren't there. She says, "Oh, how can I get them to sleep? Poppies will be good."
My mistake. I thought poppy fields was there all the time. I like Glinda intervened into Snow. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
This film's quite pervasive. Should we talk about where else it kind of pops up in culture? There's all sorts. I think you and I talked about The Wiz, the kind of black version of the story, which I quite like the song "Ease on Down the Road," but I don't like the rest of it. And it looks kind of cheap, doesn't it, if you watch it?
Yeah.
I think there's a Muppets Wizard of Oz. I could be wrong.
Yeah, there is.
I've never seen that. Say again?
Gonzo's Tin Man,
That works.
Kermit's the Scarecrow.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems... I would have put Fozzie in as the Scarecrow myself. Okay, alright then. There's also an absolutely mad science fiction film called Zardoz that kind of reference it. Sean Connery's running around in a big red nappy. And at one point he puts a wedding dress on. Until you've seen Sean Connery in a wedding dress, you haven't seen anything. Feel free to Google Sean Connery wedding dress Zardoz and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Done.
But the story of that is a giant, basically it's set in the future, and these enforcers who I don't know, murderous bunch, burning up towns, killing people and all this, who wear red nappies. They kind of are instructed by a giant floating head, which they have to, I think, load grain into or something like that. But Sean Connery is one of these enforcers, and he actually comes across a library and he can read. And he sees The Wizard of Oz, and he reads it, and he realised that this head they worship is called Zardoz. That's the Wizard of Oz, Zardoz, Wizard of Oz. and he actually gets inside the head and goes to the land. It's transported back, and then causes mayhem there. It's a better. I think I'm making it sound better than it is actually. Okay, so there's that. There's. Can you think of any others?
There's Tin Man.
Oh, the sci-fi show. Yes.
Yeah.
That was like in the future,
pretty good.
wasn't it? Yeah, there was Tim. That had like a Dorothy character, and a Tin Man was like a enforcer
Tin Man
robot.
was some. No, he wasn't a robot.
Cyborg, sorry.
They were all human, kind of.
Oh, they were all
instead of the guy being a scarecrow looking for a brain, he'd had like half his brain surgically removed.
Oh, okay, so it was a literal kind of sci-fi adaptation.
But he used to be like the old the advisor for the old royalty. So that he couldn't reveal the country's secrets, he'd had half his brain surgically removed.
Oh man,
the Cowardly Lion
I've
was
not
some
seen
sort
it, though.
of animalistic psychic.
Okay, it was good though.
Yeah,
yeah. It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, wasn't it? Before it became Sci-Fi.
Some things become more metaphorical, and the others become more literal. Like the Tin Man, he's like got no heart because he's essentially had to watch his wife and child die for a couple of years. Over and over.
Okay, so... Oh, God, that sounds awful.
Yeah, torture. They put him in this big metal suit that holds him
in
place and projects this thing.
Oh, man, that's terrible. I also remember... There's a film called Kentucky Fried Movie, which is a pretty good movie, comedy, by the guys that actually went on to make Airplane, to give you an idea of the quality of that. And it's like a sketch show film, but they do a very long sketch in the middle called Fistful of Yen, which is a pastiche of Enter the Dragon, which both Enter the Dragon and this film ends with a fight between the bad guy and this Bruce Lee lookalike guy in a hall of mirrors. And in the Bruce Lee film, he does kung fu and kills him, but in this, the guy's attacking him and he throws water over him and he melts. And not only that, someone appears and starts talking to Bruce Lee lookalike, and he's got these ruby slippers on. And he taps his feet together and says there's no place to home. And then it goes back into black and white. And there's this Chinese guy sitting on a bed in a gingham dress and pigtails saying, is RTM here? And all this. It was kind of funny. When you saw it, it was hard to... It cracked me right up when I saw it. I'll have to show you it sometime. It's worth seeing. It's about half an hour. It's very good though. So there's loads of references to Wizard of Oz. Okay, I'll tell you what. Should we score Wizard of Oz? Are you feeling brave?
Okay.
What'd you give it out?
In fact, let's leave this one alone.
Should we just leave it alone?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say it's 8.2 on IMDb. Shame on you, IMDb. Shame on you. It needs to be more than that. Okay, the next one on our list is... We got two possibilities here. There's actually two kind of sequels to Wizard of Oz. There was one made in the mid-70s called Journey Back to Oz, and there was one made in the mid-80s called Return to Oz. Let's talk about Journey Back to Oz first. That was an animated one. We did watch it, didn't we? It was about 85 minutes. What did you think of that?
Had about 50 songs.
Oh, God, it was bad. The songs were... None of them were any good at all, were they?
One was sung by a signpost.
Yes.
A signpost.
There was one that sounded
about
more
how
like...
he wanted to be different from all the other signposts,
yes.
so he pointed the wrong directions.
It was like, please stop singing, and they were just dreadful songs. But bizarrely, they got Liza Minnelli to voice Dorothy, Judy Garland's daughter, and she sounded really like her. She really sounded like Dorothy from the film. But there were some quite... to be fair, we did watch it all. We didn't have to shut it off because it was so terrible. Some of the characters weren't bad. There was a Pumpkinhead who actually reappeared also in Return to Oz. There was a carousel horse. I'm trying to think what else. The bad person was Mombi the witch, and she had these. She was conjuring up green elephants, evil green elephants,
to lay siege to the
to Oz.
Emerald City.
Yeah, they were animated quite well. I thought they were quite cool actually.
Yeah,
kind of like that. There was one bit they took a lid off a pot and these green elephant trunks started coming out, and you had no clue that was going to happen up to that point. So it was quite a shock. But some of the songs were dreadful. I remember there was one song, "If you're going to be a witch, be a witch." Yeah. And that was sung by Ethel Merman, who is a famous singer, but it was just, oh man, it was bad. Though, I kind of enjoyed it. In a bizarre way.
I found it weird that the woman who played the witch in the original Wizard of Oz was Auntie M.
Yes, Auntie M, Margaret Hamilton. She was only Auntie M was only in it very briefly, but she did the voice, which was a nice callback. I thought it was all right. I like that. On IMDb, it's 5.8 out of 10. What would you give it?
Much lower than that.
I'll give it 53, so a little lower, but you're in the 40s or 40 or 30s or something.
I didn't like this film.
Okay, fair enough. We give it a go, though, because we wanted to see it because we were going to see Oz the Great and Powerful, so we were just getting into an Oz mood. And then we watched Return to Oz from 1985. What do you think of this one?
I preferred it to Journey Back to Oz.
Oh, this was a much better film. Yeah, this was quite a solid film, I thought. It was very dark. It started off really dark. It was like a little girl being strapped to a bed
therapy.
to get electrodes, and then kind of reminded me of a recent movie, Sucker Punch. It was like Sucker Punch was kind of a bit of a remake of it, but it was even worse. But she managed to get away, and she managed to go to Oz. Now, I like some of the imagery in this. I thought it was really good. There was bits of it were very 80s, though, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like the Wheelers. That was very 80s.
And very scary.
Yeah, creepy. Mombi was also in this as a character, as a witch, played by Jean Marsh. I thought she was really good.
Well, she was played by about 5 different actresses.
Well, all right, but the main one was Jean Marsh. Her real head was Jean Marsh, because she had heads she could change, wasn't there? And she liked collecting people's heads or women's heads. She had all these dancers' heads,
and she planned to let Dorothy grow up so she could take her head.
Yeah, nice. Ugh. That's proper fairy story stuff, that is.
That's from the original book, I think, as well.
Wow. It doesn't surprise me. There's some mad stuff in those books. There's a whole... Just to go back on the book slightly, I read The Wizard of Oz, and there's a whole extra sections missing from the film that's some really weird stuff, like they have to fight, they have to escape from these monsters called Calidars, which have bears' bodies and tigers' heads, which I think is referenced in the film when they go lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! And stuff like that. There's all sorts of... And there's things called hammerheads, which are people without any arms and legs, but if you try and get near them, their necks can extend really fast and they hit you with their heads. How about that?
What?
That's mad, isn't it? Yeah, that's right near the end of the book. Anyway, getting back to Return to Oz. Some bits I really liked. I really liked the sequence with all the heads in glass cases who start screaming when Dorothy tries to steal the powder of life, is it?
Yeah,
powder of life, the bottle. And also the robot TikTok was really good. I thought the robot was done really well. I liked it a lot. Was there any references in this to that? There wasn't there? I mean, the Scarecrow was in it.
Scarecrow was in it for about
and wasn't the lion in it briefly?
The lion you see as a statue, same with Tin Man.
Right, okay.
That bit I found really weird because TikTok, who's this robot they find, who is the Army of Oz.
Yeah, he's the Army of Oz, yeah.
Just him.
Yeah.
He says that all living things were turned to stone, but not me, because I am a robot.
Yeah.
But Tin Man's not really alive.
Yeah, that's true. You were quite right. Logical flaw. I did like some of the set design as well. I thought it was rather good.
All the set design was pretty good.
Yeah. Oz itself was really nice when the people were turned to stone. I thought that was really good. And like I say, I like Mumbai. Going back to Jean Marsh, she actually went on to play another sort of Wicked Witch in a kind of similar, not that similar, but a fantasy story. Willow, actually. She played, I can't remember her name, Queen Maud Varna or something like that in Willow. So she was kind of starting to get a lot of these kind of roles. Overall, I did enjoy Return to Oz quite a lot. I thought it was rather good. Better than I was expecting it to be, actually. There were some other characters too, wasn't there? There was the Gump, which was like a moose's head on a
the thing with
sofa.
Jack Pumpkinhead, who's a character that showed up in this and
Journey Back to
Oz.
Yeah.
Oz. He's brought to life by this life powder, which is quite unimaginatively named. Yeah. But they, in an effort to escape from Mombi, they smash a window, tie some sofas together, put a moose's head, a Gump's head, on the front, but it's a moose, and stick some palm leaves to the sides, and then pour this powder of life on it, and it comes to life.
And it can fly.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, we haven't got to the proper bad guy. We talked about Mombi, but there's the Goblin King. which has some effects where people like they're being watched by things in rocks, aren't they? Eyes and mouth, which I thought was okay.
Yeah, all those effects were pretty good. The stop motion was good,
and the Goblin King wasn't bad until he showed you the source of his power, and this big grey stone, massive kind of man was wearing little red ruby slippers. Yeah. That was what the hell? What were they thinking when they did that?
I wouldn't have even minded if they changed for whoever wore them. I wouldn't have minded if they were like big boots or something.
Big red boots, but they were the proper red ruby.
They had little bows. They had like heels.
It's mad. It's I don't know what to say about this. I really don't. It did look good, did it? It wasn't a good idea. They must have cracked. If I'd have seen that in the cinema, I'd have laughed my head off. I've got to be honest. Probably.
He shows it like it's some like horrifying truth. It's like, do you mean these ruby slippers? And pulls up his cloak.
Yeah. Funny enough, reading the book, when she gets home with the silver slippers, she does actually drop them. A bit like in Return to Oz, she does drop her silver slippers as she's flying back home. So it kind of ties up with that. Kind of cool.
But in the books, he makes a silver belt.
Well, that would have been better, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact he was trying to fool people, and as they fell into his trap, he'd become more like a living thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then when they started to go backwards, like saving each other, he started to become more and more rock-like, and I thought that was kind of a cool idea as well. I rather like that. Okay then, so out of the films, I think we'd recommend all of them apart from Journey Back to Oz, really. Yeah. I think, and they kind of work in sequence, don't they? Without that much of a flaw. You know, Oz the Great and Powerful, Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz. They're not bad. The girl playing Dorothy was pretty good.
Yeah.
Though she was obviously younger than Judy Garland's Dorothy, which is a bit odd. That was a bit odd.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a good watch. What would you give Return of Oz out of 100?
Pretty high. 60s?
I said 66, if that helps. What would you go with?
Yeah, probably about that.
66, and it's 6.6 on IMDb. So
okay.
IMDb are right sometimes. All right, then. I think that's enough of Oz for this podcast. Anything else to add?
No, not really. Just the girl that played Dorothy in Return to Oz was in American History X. Yeah,
she's grown up into... She was quite a hot stuff when she grew up, actually. I remember seeing her in a few things. She's got a very distinctive look about her. She's got very blue or an unusual coloured eyes.
Sort of eyes.
Yeah, grey, blue eyes. She looks completely different as well. One thing I also add is I've just read the first book of Oz. There are 15, which is really the Dorothy story. And it was a pretty good read. It was a very fast read. It's like 100 pages or something. And not only did they cram the entire plot of Wizard of Oz in the film, they do an extra bit on the end of it. A whole set of adventures just after it, because Dorothy can't get home, and she has to go find Glinda rather than Glinda just coming to the Emerald City. So, not a bad read, especially for kids. I'd say that's a definite one worth reading. Okay, then, shall we go out singing the Munchkin song?
No.
All right then. Okay then. Bye then.
Bye.
We represent